Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is the Asus MeMo Pad ME301T, or the 10-inch MeMo Pad if you want something a little shorter and easier to say. It's a 10-inch tablet that has 1 gig of RAM, a 16 gigs of internal storage, and an NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor, which means that in a lot of ways it's pretty similar to what you would get with a 7-inch tablet like the Nexus 7, but also made by Asus. But the Nexus 7 has a 7-inch 1280 by 800 pixel display, while the MeMo Pad has a 10-inch 1280 by 800 display. Nexus 7 starts at $199. This starts at $299. It's actually quite similar to what you would get with the Asus Transformer Pads line of tablets, except instead of having docking ports at the bottom that let you plug in a keyboard, there's no keyboard option. Instead, you just sort of have a thin and light computer that has a pretty fast processor. It's not the fastest around anymore. A couple of things have come out since Tegra 3, which are a little bit more speedy, but it offers definitely enough performance for HD video, most games, and similar features. We've got HDMI output, micro USB, an SD card slot, actually a micro SD card slot, volume, headset, and power button. Power button's a little bit awkwardly located, so it sort of takes a little while to get used to the fact that power button is all the way up here while the volume button's over here, but once you've used it for a couple of days, it's really not that hard to remember. There's a front-facing camera and a rear camera here, and speakers on the back. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at what you can do with this tablet. For the most part, we've got a pretty standard version of Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. There's a couple of customizations, such as this quick settings area here that Asus puts in that has your screen brightness, rotation, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so forth. Also a couple of different power saving options here. And we can go into settings and take a little look at some of the other things. So under About Tablet, you can see that we are running Android 4.1.1 Jelly Bean. Under storage, you can see that we've got a little under 12 gigabytes of internal storage space available. And there's Asus customized settings, so you can actually choose a couple of different things here, like changing the recent apps button to a screenshot button, enabling screensaver, Asus quick settings, and so forth. And there's also a power saving area here, which when the battery level hits a certain point, you can have a turn off GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so forth. So that's kind of nice to have. There's also, it comes preloaded with a couple of Asus apps, including, for instance, an app backup, Asus web storage, press reader, Zinio, Global, and more. There's an audio wizard for the SRS audio that lets you switch to movie mode, gaming mode, music mode, recording mode, and speech mode. I haven't found it really that useful. Speakers are okay. They're not anything to write home about. And a couple of social media type apps, including this Pin Pal, which just timed out on me. Lets you sign in with your social networks and sort of manage them from one location. Also Buddy Buzz, which does something similar. In terms of using it as sort of an everyday Android tablet, works pretty well for reading books. I've got the Kindle app up and running here. Screen looks pretty good, and you can adjust the brightness. You can surf the web. That's not what I thought I had just done. There we go. So we've got web browsing. Media playback works pretty well. Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is the Google Chromebook Pixel. It's the first laptop. Viewing angles, not too bad. It's about a 170-degree viewing angle. I don't know how well you can see because of the lighting in here, but you can basically place it down flat on a table and still see what you're looking at. And in terms of gaming, I haven't done a lot of hardcore gaming on it, but I did load up Machinarium or however you pronounce it, which looks pretty great. There's also an option here to sort of enable a screen lock. And I've used it for listening to music, you know, basic other tasks. So for $299, it's a pretty great all-purpose tablet. It's thin, it's light, feels pretty sturdy, gets pretty good battery life. Asus says around 7.5 hours. It's always a difficult thing to measure because it's going to vary whether you're using it to read a book with Wi-Fi off or using it to surf the web or play games or other things. But it gets pretty good battery life. I left it overnight from without really using it, but the Wi-Fi was connected. It was still downloading emails and other things, and it went from about 100% to 97%. In the couple of minutes I've been using it now, it's only down to 95%. So battery life is pretty good, and yeah, no, overall I think it's sort of, you know, a great tablet for somebody who likes the idea of an inexpensive tablet like the Nexus 7, but is looking for something that costs or has a slightly larger screen. That said, you know, it's the specs are a little bit dated. It scores similarly to the Nexus 7, but there are some newer tablets, including cheap tablets from China, that run circles around it in benchmarks, and it has a 1280 by 800 pixel display, which looks pretty good until you start getting phones and smaller tablets that have 1280 by 800 pixel displays, at which point this one starts to look not quite as sharp as it could otherwise be, or might otherwise look. But, you know, it's basically like a great tablet that you might have spent $400 or $500 on in mid or early 2012. And, you know, through the magic of technology, marching forward, it's a little bit cheaper now when Asus puts this out as a budget model in early 2013. So if you're looking for sort of a mid-range or even almost entry-level tablet, it's not a bad choice. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing and a look at the Asus MeMo Pad ME301T.